This is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard the Starship Love. I think that's what we decided on last time. And my name is Matthew Stelzner, and thank you for joining me. Thank you for checking me out. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button if you want to get notified when I have a new video up. And if you end up liking this, I would love it if you hit the like button because that really helps me out with the algorithm and all of that. So thank you, thank you. And yes, it is Saturday morning, February 26th, as I record this. It's about, what is it here? I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to bring this up here. Yes, it's about 11:15, 11:20 a.m. I was up very early this morning at about 4:40. Actually, I was up at 4:15 a.m. I wanted to be up the hill and seeing the eastern horizon by 4:45. That was my goal, and I left myself 30 minutes, which worked out quite well. I got up there and I was blessed with a vision of the Moon-Venus conjunction. We are in the second Venus portal, or excuse me, the second Venus gate of the morning Venus gates. That's what we're paying attention to here on this channel, amongst other things. We're watching these Venus gates, these monthly Moon-Venus conjunctions, and generally get 7 of them in the morning and then 7 in the evening, and it's like that. So right now she's in her morning star phase, and this is the second Venus gate. So we're getting deeper into this whole new cycle of Venus, where I don't know how long ago, it was in January that Venus had her first heliacal rise. We had our first sighting of Venus in the morning sky after so many months of her in the evening sky. And astrologers and astronomers really mark that moment, the first moment that Venus is visible in the morning sky, as the beginning of a whole Venus cycle that lasts 584 days, I believe, from heliacal rise to heliacal rise. And so we've been really looking at these last year, this year, and here we are. This particular Moon-Venus conjunction is what I sometimes call a super portal. It's a super portal right now, this morning, Sunday morning, 26th, 27th. Maybe you won't see this video until Monday, but regardless, you'll be able to kind of tune into the energy of this weekend as being potent, deep, perhaps profound. And so I really encourage you to deepen into the possibilities of this Venus gate. It's a Moon, Venus, Mars, Pluto triple conjunction. And so we are in the midst of a couple weeks. I'm going to get out my notes now. I just want to say there are 3 quadruple conjunctions, or what I call super portals, happening over the next 30 days. We're in one right now. In a few days, we're going to have the new moon conjunct Jupiter and Neptune. That's a 4-planet alignment. And at the end of the month, we're going to have Venus, Mars, and Saturn in the moon. So a Venus-Mars-Saturn a couple week conjunction, but joined by the moon and particularly kind of activating it. And so we've basically got these 3 different 3-planet conjunctions, triple conjunctions, that are joined by the moon in sequence over the next 30 something days. And so we're going to be talking about that. They're very different energies. A Venus-Mars-Pluto conjunction right now with the moon, a Sun, Moon, Jupiter-Neptune quadruple conjunction coming up on, let's see, what did I write down here? basically March 1st through March 3rd is the new moon. It's not exact on all 3 days, but it's basically a new moon going across Jupiter and then Neptune. The Jupiter-Neptune conjunction's at about 9 degrees right now. And so it's really coming in. I would expect that we would be experiencing kind of very strong awareness of this energy at this time. If you're paying attention to the signs of Jupiter and Neptune, and we'll be exploring them more, and I also explored them in the last video for sure. The last couple videos I've been talking about the once in 13-year Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that we've got all year that is being activated in sequence by the inner planets. First, the Sun right now, and then Mercury's coming, and then Mars and Venus are coming. First Venus, so it's like Sun, and then Mercury, and then Venus, and then Mars, all going across this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, this once in 13-year Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. And so this is the first activation, the Sun conjunct Jupiter-Neptune, which I would see as basically it's about February 20th, so about 6 days ago, through March 15th. That, what's that? I guess that's about 3 weeks altogether. It's, but in the middle, it's the tightest. We can look at that for a second. You can see right now that the Sun is just 5 degrees from Jupiter, so we're starting to get a strong Sun-Jupiter conjunction energy, which, yeah, that in itself has a really positive quality to it. It's a kind of Jupiter granting success and positivity to the solar light. And it tends to be a time where, yeah, there's more positivity, more kind of a sunny disposition, more of a kind of winning positive attitude that might come more naturally with this particular alignment. There's other obviously challenging energies that we're dealing with that have to do maybe with some other alignments, but this particular Sun Jupiter right now, what is it, 14 degrees before the Sun gets to Neptune. It's like, especially, yeah, like this new moon on March 2nd, you can see it's exact. At that point, for me, that's kind of the real beginning of the Jupiter-Neptune year in terms of it's on, baby. It's really happening. And so it's likely to be a time right now and through the next 4 weeks, it's just the moment where this wave of kind of positive consciousness energy is more available. It's a kind of big healing wave of healing waters and healing imagination, healing visions, healing dreams, healing spiritual experiences of all sorts, a renewal of hope, and yeah, the capacity to envision more positive timelines for yourself. And so, and to feel pulled onto them, to envision them, but also to feel like you're catching the wave onto those positive timelines. And so that energy is really coming in here this first week of March. At the same time, we're in this second Venus gate, but it's not just a Moon-Venus conjunction, it's a Moon-Venus-Mars-Pluto quadruple conjunction. And so that means it's deeper, it's more intense, it's more kind of primal, animal. You know, the Moon-Venus has everything to do with, yeah, like being more loving. It's a monthly initiation into being more loving and kind with yourself, more loving and kind with others. I think that's what the invitation is each month at these Venus gates, where we get to go out and gaze upon their beauty, the moon and Venus together. Sometimes you can't see them. This morning, I mean, sometimes the weather doesn't per minute. This morning the weather was good here in San Francisco, though very cold. It was good, but very cold, especially at 4:45 in the morning. But I wore lots of layers, and I had a thermos of hot tea, and I had just such a lovely morning, just observing the beauty of this alignment, and to be able to see the moon and Venus and Mars. At first, around 4:45, the Moon-Venus conjunction was rising over the East Bay here in San Francisco. And it was just so beautiful, those two coming up over the horizon. They were parallel for astronomical reasons, even though they were like 9 degrees apart. They seemed to like be at the same level. It was a little bit surprising to me, but I know that there's astronomical reasons for that. But what it looked like was just the two of them just side by side, and it actually looked like a gate. It looked like a gate, and I think each month these Venus gates can open for us. It's like we choose to open the gate, or the divine feminine opens the gate and welcomes us in. And if we go through the gate, it's like entering into a portal of possibilities where you're kind of consciously engaging the energy and being willing to be transformed by it. And ultimately, it's like the more I've been doing it, it's like a kind of falling in love with the sky that happens, a falling in love with the moon and Venus and their beauty, and just a sense of gratitude that, yeah, they put on this display each month, or most of the time. They go into the underworld for parts of the cycle for a couple months. They're not visible, but they're still conjoining. They're still doing their thing. And it's like, the more I observe them, the more I take photos of them, the more I'm just like aware that it's a monthly work of art that's happening. It's like a divine artist. Always their beauty is inherent, but then there's the local landscape that they're set against, and it maybe take photos with them against. And there's the unique cloud formations and the light that's available, and what exact part of the sky they're conjoining in, and then they rise over a couple hours, they get higher in the sky. And it's like each of those moments, I was so aware of it this morning. It was just like, wow, this is art in nature, which is very much a Venus-Pluto thing. There's a Venus-Pluto conjunction happening really strongly. You can see the alignment if you look at the chart here. Venus is just 1 degree from Mars and 4 degrees from Pluto. So those three are in a triple conjunction within 4 degrees. So that's super happening. And the moon is coming onto it. Tomorrow morning, it'll be basically exact. And so the later we get in the day Saturday here in California, it's like they're getting closer. And then by tomorrow morning, they're really exact. And so, yeah, Venus-Pluto and the Moon-Pluto combination have a lot to do with love of nature, the beauty of nature, feeling emotionally connected to nature, feeling as though nature herself is reaching out to care for you and love you and, bless you with her beauty. And so, yeah, each month it's like a pilgrimage to take in the beauty medicine and the love medicine that's there. It certainly feel like the more I do this practice, it's a kind of monthly meditation on the sky and her beauty, the more I just feel like the sky is seeing me, seeing her. Venus and the moon are seeing me, seeing her, and kind of worshiping their beauty each month. And so I guess this is my way of encouraging all of you. Again, I'm going to just keep doing it. Let's all commit to getting out under the sky once a month for 1 hour or 2 hours. if you want the A plus. But if you want to be blessed by this experience, if you just go out for an hour before sunrise and the morning sky Venus gates, or you get out for an hour after sunset and you just observe. You observe, like this morning, they were super bright when I got out there. And of course, as the sun got closer to rising, you see their light kind of fade. And it's different in the evening sky, right? It's like you watch them emerge into the night sky versus disappearing into the dawn. It's a really lovely thing. Every aspect of it is meaningful and filled with messages, I feel. And the messages that I received this morning were in a few areas. Definitely, this is an alignment, and I think it's a kind of invitation for the whole month ahead, because it's like when you have conjunctions, it's the beginning of a new cycle. And these are Moon-Mars conjunction, Moon-Venus conjunction, Moon-Pluto conjunction. Each of those bring a new cycle. And also we've got the Venus-Mars cycle of time, the Venus-Pluto cycle of time, and the Mars-Pluto cycle of time. With 4 planets in a conjunction, you actually have 6 cycles of time that are ending and beginning. And so we're going to have, this is a very potent time of new beginnings. And the Moon-Venus-Mars-Pluto part of it, I feel, is about a kind of new beginning with regards to full embodiment in your animal body. Like, what is it to just drop in more to your animal body and its needs, its desires, its beauty, its attraction principle, and tune into how your animal body is attracted to other animal bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the ultimate alignment for getting it on, people. And so, like, in this coming month, I think there's something about really letting your sexual energies emerge more, like kind of paying attention to your sexual needs more and being aware of the desires that are there, and kind of thinking about how can I get this need met in a really healing and deep and satisfying way. And so that could look like a lot of different things for different people, but I think it's an invitation to go deeper into self-love and self-pleasure, and also deeper into other pleasure, gifts of pleasure to the ones that you love, whatever form that might take, whether it's sexual or just some kind of loving demonstration of intimacy. I think we're all invited to go deeper into love this month, and to open to more passionate energies, perhaps, whether it's passionate sexuality, passionate music and art and dance. This is definitely one of the ultimate alignments for dance, music, and artistic expression of all kinds. And so I hope that this is going to be a month, and of course this is one of the things that's happening in March, is the spring equinox here in the Northern Hemisphere, when there's a burst of new life force. And so this alignment, this Venus-Mars-Pluto alignment that's getting activated this weekend and kind of starting all these new cycles that are kind of coming online this month, it's like, yes, the energy on its own, Venus-Mars-Pluto, has a burst of life force energy to it, where it's like, your animal body is just filled with life force energies and they want to be expressed somehow. That could be athletically, artistically, more sexually, but there's lots of ways for these fiery, pleasurable energies to be expressed and explored. Definitely more time in nature this month, everybody. There's more of a likelihood of just experiencing, the pleasure of being in nature, connected to Mother Earth, feeling cared for by Mother Earth, feeling held by Mother Earth, feeling deeply rooted in her. And so, yes, it's a month for falling in love with the earth and for feeling the love of the earth, and to feel the love force that comes down to Earth to comfort us in times of need, in times of war. Mars, Pluto, this is the first Mars-Pluto conjunction since the Mars-Pluto conjunction that happened at the beginning of the pandemic. And that was a Mars-Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto quadruple conjunction, a very different kind of super portal that the pandemic really got underway. That was the moon came onto it in a 5-planet conjunction. And I did a bunch of videos about it back in 2020. That energy, when Mars came onto it in March of 2020, that kind of intensity and extreme energy, where it felt like the Earth became a kind of battlefield where, where we were grappling with extreme forces of nature. So yes, that all happened in late Capricorn, and that's where Mars is right now. And so it's the Mars return, and it's a Mars-Pluto new cycle 2 years after that beginning. And so that has a quality of the end of a cycle of that kind of extreme, that version of extreme energy. And now we're kind of entering into another cycle of extreme energy that seems to be partly being expressed in Ukraine right now. And so it's like Venus with Mars Pluto has something to do with love and war, love and hell, the way in which the love force will go all the way into the darkest, most hellish realms of what humanity is capable of, and will bring its love, its kindness, its heart force. Pluto is the force of nature and Venus is the heart. It's like in extreme conditions, there is this very deep and powerful, profound version of love that comes down and is there for those in need. That is one version of Venus, Mars, Pluto, where if any of you feel like you're in some extreme circumstances, it's like tuning into how love shows up, especially at that time. The way in which extreme experiences that can be quite challenging sometimes will draw out love, where you'll be actually closer to what love is during those times. And that can bring a gift of a heart opening and a transformation. Venus, Pluto is the relationship, the planetary relationship that has to do with being transformed by love on the deepest levels, being evolved by love on the deepest levels. And so, yes, I guess I want to kind of contextualize this profound moment in our journey into deeper into love space on this starship love. We're going deeper into outer space, everybody. And it's like we've been on a journey since December when Venus was conjunct Pluto. You can go back to a video I did back there. I'll try to link somewhere here to it. But it's like, December had a Venus-Pluto conjunction, and then Venus went retrograde. So it moved away from Pluto, and now it's back. And so it's kind of like we've been in this long journey with Venus-Pluto that is about evolving us and transforming us through love. And so if you feel like you've gone deeper into love than you've ever been before over the last couple months, 3 months, we're talking about December, January, February, and this Venus-Pluto goes how long? I put the Venus-Mars-Pluto triple conjunction going until about mid-March. And so the really strong phase of the Venus-Pluto goes until about mid-March. I can't remember if it came in like mid-December, but it's like, it's kind of January, February, March. It's kind of a 3-month process that we've been going through. And so it's like going even deeper into love over the last 3 months. Can you feel how that's been true for you? Can you see how maybe you went to some extremes in love and learned something about going to extremes in terms of the gifts of love that come in extreme circumstances? And perhaps you also got in touch with, a part of you that might be kind of hesitant to go deeper. Because when you go deeper into love, you're more likely to, be totally transformed, to go through a kind of death rebirth process through, going deeper into yourself, deeper into relationship. And that can be kind of intense. It can be demanding to be transformed. You have to bring your full awareness and participation to a transformational process. And so you have to kind of be available to be transformed by love. If you don't give an investment of your time and awareness and focus and perhaps practice to this process of going deeper into love, and ultimately it's about learning how to love yourself even deeper than you ever have before, especially the most vulnerable parts of yourself. Being able to bring love into those deep, vulnerable places where maybe there's also some wounds, some shadow material, some shame. And it's like noticing that right there, there's a kind of special love that shows up for those parts of yourself. And it's a really deep one that has a force behind it that says, even though you've got these wounds and these deep fears perhaps around intimacy and love, they can be healed. They can be there's medicine for those places, and kindness for those places, and patience, a kind of deep, powerful patience with those more vulnerable areas, because patience is kindness and it's loving. And so kind of being patient with your transformational process of love, being patient with what it is to go deeper into love with yourself and others. Yes, this is what we're talking about. It's happening. Mars makes it stronger. Mars gives it fire, gives it even more force. And so it's like the passionate lover's energy is in the air. And so like, how are you going to channel it? Definitely try to get out dancing if you can. Try to get out dancing, everybody. I really need to. It's been too long for me, honestly. And this is the time of year, the springtime, when things warm up, where it's like, you want to get your body moving, you want to find some fun music, or maybe it's some other kind of fun artistic activity. Certainly, if you have your own kind of artistic practice that gives you the most satisfaction, whether that's like painting or dancing or creating music, or like for me, one way that I get a lot of artistic satisfaction is from creating altars with crystals and objects and kind of moving them around. It's just like pleasing to me. It's a kind of artistic expression that I feel like I encounter beauty through it, and I get the medicine of beauty and artistic creativity. And so this is a really good month to be aware of how you get healing through artistic creativity. And so, yes. Okay. Who do we get? Oh, this is nice. Check it out. This angel is the angel of forgiveness and understanding. Forgiveness and understanding. Gosh, that's a good one. Forgiveness and understanding. I think this card is relevant to the Moon-Venus-Pluto, maybe especially with Mars, because it's like sometimes Venus-Mars-Pluto can be like where you go to the underworld through love. Like you have some kind of experience with a friend or a lover. With the moon involved, it could be a family member, where it's like, you feel like you got burned. That can be the Mars part of it, You feel like you got burned by someone, or you got burned within the context of a relationship, which usually means you co-created the burning experience. And so, yeah, definitely this is an important weekend, and in a way, the whole month ahead for, yeah, having enough cooling waters in your life that it can kind of cool off this very hot energy that if there is a shadow side with it, it could be more prone to kind of storm fronts moving through an intimate relationship. And it can be, yeah, or where you just kind of like get in touch with past experiences where you got burned, and where it's like you go into the underworld there and you bring your heart there, you bring, or you open to the love force there. And what's that going to ultimately feel like? It's going to feel like forgiveness, and it's going to feel like forgiveness towards yourself and others, maybe one or the other sometimes, but sometimes both. And yeah, I think this is a particularly good month for opening to forgiveness, because on the one hand, we have this Venus-Mars-Pluto triple conjunction where you're more likely to get in touch with some wounds of the heart where they could be a little bit more at the surface, as well as like the power of how much you want intimacy and love, and including physical intimacy. It's like that can all be up super strong, and any kind of pains or fears that you have in those areas can be there a little bit more. And so again, it's like with Venus there, it brings love and forgiveness into it just naturally, I think. But especially with this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction coming in, and with the new moon conjoining the Jupiter-Neptune, in a way, it's like the ultimate alignment of forgiveness energies and compassion energies. Charles Dickens first wrote and performed A Christmas Carol under a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. And that way that Scrooge finds healing in that story, like he kind of confronts his demons, and he opens to the grace from above, and he opens to his own healing, and he opens towards forgiveness, certainly. And also opens to not just like his capacity to forgive others, but just like where there's a wave coming of others' compassion and forgiveness for you and any old wounds that might be there. And so that's part of catching the wave this year is, being available for forgiveness. I remember under the last Jupiter-Neptune conjunction 13 years ago, I had a big wave of forgiveness kind of come into my life with a couple of key people in my life. And it's grace in some way. And Venus moon maybe is the ultimate combination of grace. But then with Pluto, it's just like a force of grace that's deep in nature that brings its gifts. And so, yes, the Jupiter-Neptune, though, the potential for really healing waves of forgiveness. And so it's like, can you catch that wave of the forgiveness force? Did I show the angel? I don't know if I did. Yeah, I did. Didn't I? That's a nice looking angel. This is a great deck. The Kyle Gray, the Angel Guide Oracle. Really recommend this. It's you can get it very affordably, and I feel like it's channeled with really loving messages. Yes, I think this is a year for learning a lot about forgiveness with that Jupiter-Neptune. And this particular month is very ripe for forgiveness, I would say, for the reasons I mentioned, where some of that shadow energy might be, you might be aware of it, but at the same time, this kind of healing wave of energies coming our way and building week by week. At the beginning of March, the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction is 9 degrees or 8 degrees from each other. By the end of March, they're 3 degrees from each other. So this is the month of March, when the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction just kind of comes on in. And it's like, are you available to catch that wave of forgiveness, to catch the vision that's trying to come your way? The big vision. This is the year of big visions and big dreams, and learning a lot about what it is to have a big vision that you ultimately are going to manifest. Because Jupiter-Neptune can sometimes be the visionary opening, but the really important step is like, what do you do with the vision? The vision is most likely precognitive of an actual timeline that you're perceiving as highly possible. However, you have to show up and do the work of making the timeline real. How do you do work every day? It's not just work, it's fun and relaxation and surrender every day too, but it requires action, I feel. Once you see the vision, you're going to have to show up and take the actions that actually are kind of natural. You're naturally pulled towards the big visionary potential, but you have to kind of participate in it. And so how do you participate in making your big vision real? Manifesting your big vision. This is going to be a topic that I'm going to explore a lot this year. I'm hoping to do a workshop / class, journaling workshop, I think, is what I'm aiming to do. A journaling workshop where we look at the big vision. We try to kind of capture what the big vision is in different areas. Like, what's your big vision in the area of Venus? Love for the next 13 years. What's your big vision in terms of learning and communication, perhaps teaching? How are you going to share your voice in a bigger way, if you're inclined to do so, over the next 13 years? How are you going to make that real in a patient, kind way? What's your vision for the next 13 years in terms of career, of course, in terms of family? These are really important areas to get kind of detailed about, and then think about, okay, what are the real things that I need to do in the real world to bring this vision into reality? So we're going to be exploring this, and if you want to be notified of this potential workshop class, see the link below. Make sure you're on my mailing list. Some announcement is going to go out within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Okay? I think these 2 months, if we just all show up for these 2 months and participate in these very transformational energies, I think if we just can kind of show up, have the intention of being available to what's happening in the collective psyche right now, I think it's going to be a nice wave that we catch. It's going to be a positive wave, a joyful wave, so it's not going to feel like too much, but it's going to be an obvious wave, and all you got to do is kind of get on your board and surf it. Okay, metaphorically. What did I want to say? Okay, so we're talking about the journey of Venus. December, January, February, March, April. It's a big, long journey. That's how many months? I think it's 4. Is that 5 months? December, January, February, March, April, May, because it really goes through May. So we're talking about a 6-month process of Venus coming into a sequence of conjunctions that are kind of epic, because they're not just single conjunctions. It's not just a Venus-Pluto conjunction. It's a Venus-Mars-Pluto triple conjunction that we're in. And so it started out as Venus-Pluto in December, and then it became Venus-Mars. It became even more fiery. And then the Venus-Mars conjunction caught up with Pluto, and this is where I'm going to go to my notes. Let me go back to my notes. The Venus-Mars-Pluto triple conjunction, February 16th to March 14th. So it's like the transformational love force energies are at a real peak this weekend, but they're definitely super strong through the middle of March. But as I said earlier, it's like, because we're at this point of 6 different cycles of time beginning, it's like there's a potency to the whole month in terms of this Venus-Mars-Pluto super deep fiery, passionate love force that, yeah, is to be explored. I would begin, if you don't know where to begin with this energy, get out in nature and just experience how beautiful it is and feel the love that's in nature. Certainly do that with the sky. I hope you're going to get up early tomorrow morning when the Moon-Venus-Mars-Pluto quadruple conjunction super portal will be, it'll be exact tomorrow morning. I'm going to be getting up again early, about 4:15, 4:30 myself, because I want to see a rise, because it's super dramatic against the horizon. But if you get up just like an hour before sunrise, you're going to be able to see this tight Moon-Mars-Venus triple conjunction, and you have to imagine that Pluto's behind it. And so, yes, this super portal is shaping the whole month, but what happens in the second half of the month is the Venus-Mars conjunction comes on to Saturn. And so what does Saturn do? Let me get the dates right for this one. Venus, Mars, Saturn. Where did I put it? Yes, March 17th through about April 7th. Rough estimate for Venus, Mars, Saturn. So first half of the month, Venus, Mars, Pluto. Second half of the month, Venus, Mars, Saturn. Basically what's happening is Venus and Mars are going across the Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter sequence that was super tight in 2020, less tight in 21. But now because they've separated, it's like we get this sequence of outer planet conjunctions that are spread out a bit. And so it moves more onto Saturn. And then at the end of April, it moves on to Jupiter. That's the super yummy Venus alignment we're all heading for. The Venus-Jupiter-Neptune triple conjunction is on the horizon. Did I write this down? The dates in April. Maybe I didn't write it down here, but it's like it peaks on April 26th and 27th, and the week before and the week after especially are potent. Let me bring it up here actually, because we want to see this one. Let's actually go to the Venus, Mars, Saturn first. You can, what did I say it was? About March 27th. You can see here about March 19th that they're already within 10 degrees, 8 degrees. So it's coming in March 19th. Oh, I wrote March 17th. So yeah, 17th, 19th, it's really coming in. And by the time we get to, I'm going 7 days at a time here. By March 26th, you can see how close they are here. Venus is just a couple degrees from Saturn, and then the moon comes on around March 27th and 28th. That's another quadruple conjunction at the end of the month. Moon, Venus, Mars, Saturn, March 27th to the 29th is kind of how I'm seeing it. Here's the 27th. It's most exact on the 28th. And so, yes, as we move into the second half of March, it's like the Saturn force becomes stronger. And Saturn is the principle of strength and maturity and wisdom and commitment. And it also has a quality of pragmatism, and it relates to work and career structures. And so it's like it takes this deeply transformed lover's energy and makes it stronger, I feel. It brings the lovers greater seriousness and maturity and a capacity to work together. It's like love and work coming together. How we learn to be in love with others and integrate well our work lives, our career lives. We bring love and work into balance. That's one of the big themes, I would say, the second half of March and into early April. It's like, how do we learn to be working lovers? How do we work at building stronger love? How do we participate in our love maturing with friends, family, lovers? There's a natural maturing force that, if you participate in it, your relationships will just naturally mature over time. They can, if both people show up in a committed way and with a sense of loyalty that's willing to work through things, kind of hang in there through the challenges of intimacy. So it's like we've been going into deep intimacy, December, January, February, and into the first half of March, really deep, fiery intimacy. But then it hits Saturn, and it's like time to work, time to face some of the more challenging aspects of what it is to love another person. But also where, that's another kind of forgiveness force that comes in there with Saturn, with Venus-Saturn, where it's like during this time, we're meant to love our flaws and limitations, forgive ourselves our flaws and limitations, our shortcomings, bringing compassion to that place in ourselves and others. The way when you really love someone, you may know that they have, like a character issue that's, it's like some kind of limitation they have. And it's like, that's part of love. It's like, it's part of how we fall in love is by kind of loving the things that are more challenging to love in another person. It kind of stretches our heart, and we practice with ourselves. And again, I feel like the word patient, the patient lover, is Venus-Saturn. It's willing to kind of hang in there and be loving through it all. So that's Venus-Saturn towards the end of the month, Venus-Mars-Saturn. And then in April, like I was saying, we're heading towards that Venus-Jupiter-Neptune. So it becomes something else entirely let's give a little generous thing here. Let's go. It's like just as Venus is kind of coming away from Mars, 10, 11 degrees, it's getting 10, 11 degrees from the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. So it's like, in sequence, first Venus is going to go across Jupiter-Neptune and then Mars. But it's like these fiery lovers that have worked through their challenges and maybe some conflict. They've gone deep together. And then it's like they're heading into these healing waters together. They're heading towards some healing waters. And this is where I've been recommending that people think about taking a really nice vacation. Someplace that's super pleasurable, maybe where there's warm water. I think where there's warm water, unless you really like cold water. Some people do. I don't understand why. I like cold water if it's right next to warm water. That's how I feel about it. Yes, here in mid-April, Venus starts to come onto the Jupiter-Neptune. And there's this kind of peak. April 26th and 27th, you can see it here. Moon-Venus-Jupiter-Neptune, quadruple conjunction. That's kind of the peak wave of the whole year in terms of healing, forgiveness, compassion, but ultimately the ultimate heart chakra super portal of the 21st century. That's what I'm going to call it. The ultimate heart chakra super portal of the 21st century. It's a couple months away. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about March and April. This is it, people. It's all happening. We are all going on this healing journey together on this starship love, and I'm going to do my best to guide you through it. There's other things happening we could talk about. We got a Mercury-Saturn conjunction happening right now. Mercury-Saturn, it's a good week for focusing your mind, learning how to communicate really clearly, precisely, bringing some clear communication to the powerful love dynamics that are happening in your life, not saying any more words than are necessary. There's a kind of professional communicator energy with Mercury-Saturn, where you just use exactly the right amount of words. And that is my cue. I'm going to start wrapping things up here now. The one other thing I'll mention, since we went through all the Venus sequence, there's a point here where before Venus and Mars conjoin Saturn, they square Uranus. So that's another kind of pulse of love that comes in, the kind of electrification of heart energies where a lot of excitement might be there. And it's because Saturn is square Uranus this year. I've talked about that in a previous video. We're getting transits that are activating both Saturn and Uranus. And so Venus and Mars are moving from Pluto towards Saturn, but first they're kind of squaring Uranus. And so that adds another twist. I guess I would just summarize it all saying the next couple months are perhaps the most important months of your life for love, for opening to love, for being healed by love. And so I hope you'll make yourself available to it, available to the process. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you all in the chat below. Let me know how you're experiencing all of this profound love energy that's in the air. Are you feeling like you're coming alive to more love in your life? I hope so. Please tell me about it down below. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to invite you aboard my Starship Love, and hit the subscribe button, and then you'll be on board with over 1,000 other souls on board this ship. And I take my role seriously, and I send you blessings and so much love. So much love. Peace, everybody. Peace, love, love.